This is the Footbrawl Podcast with your hosts, Tyler, Andy, and Boyer.
Welcome back to Mantasy Footbrawl Podcast, presented by two of your performance-enhancing dads and Mr. Verified. What's happening, Charlie?
I am not a dad, but I am in performance enhancing. So that's potential. That's one half of the name.
Yep. He will help you enhance your performance on fantasy hockey, I hear.
Yeah. By the way, I'm involved in too many podcasts. This is the last one I'm doing.
Well, I'm glad you can make some time for us.
Is this your official retirement from our podcast?
Oh, no. I'm going to retire from my other one. This one, I'm going to do full time. Yes.
Perfect.
Priorities.
Oh, all right. So let's go ahead and jump into last week 7 recap. Andy, first off, how did we do in our predictions last week? Good, bad, somewhere in between? Did I make up any ground?
Yes and no. Yes and no. I don't remember all the questions you asked. Did you make up any ground? Kind of. You made up some ground on me. I had a real bad week, mostly thanks to Paul. So Ty and Boyer both got 3 right, and I only got 1. We all picked Ty to beat Colin, and that happened, and that was the only game I got right. Ty and Boyer picked Jeremy to beat Paul. Boyer was the only one that picked Charlie to beat Fryer. And Ty was the only one that picked Robbie to beat Boyer. Everybody picked Duo, everybody picked me, and neither of those panned out.
All right, so jumping into last week's recap, Colin's first game over 100 points gets beat by Eno Benjamin. Thank you, Andy, for giving me that one.
Yep.
Colin gave me a quick scare with Josh Jacobs and George Kittle having the best games of their season. But it just wasn't quite enough to beat my powerhouse of a team. Jeremy beats Paul in a matchup that no one wanted to win. Jeremy got 19 from the Titans defense, and that was the highest scoring player on either team. So you both suck. Jamar Chase carries Chris to victory over the duo. Duo needs Kamara and Henry to start scoring 25 a week if they want to compete. They're not looking good. In the game of the week, Charlie beats out Fryer 64-61. Good work, Charlie.
Real barn burner.
Ramondre Stevenson has been the real deal the last couple of weeks, and DJ Moore under a new coaching staff finally gets 10 targets, 7 receptions, 69 yards, and a touchdown to carry Charlie. Fryer shit the bed with 2 players going for 10 and 11, Will Lutz and Lamar Jackson. And when your kicker is your best player, probably not a good week. Fryer, your team sucks, man. Walker takes the win over Andy. Walker gets some luck by the Lions, only putting up 6 points. Had they decided to score 1 more, Andy wins. Had DK Metcalf not gone down, Andy probably wins. Unlike Charlie and Fryer's matchup, these two both wanted to win and put up 99 and 97 and a good matchup. Boyer loses with 100 points to Robbie. Kenneth Walker looks like the real deal, and Joe Burrow had himself a week with 39 points. Boyer had a solid week top to bottom, and he still looks good having ETN on the bench, even with Breece Hall going down. Tyreek Hill only putting up 7 kind of hurt Boyer this week. So what do you do? Robbie just had a great week. So that was what happened in week 7.
I gotta be honest, guys. I went into that Monday Night Football matchup totally. I wasn't even planning on looking at the matchup because I had already mentally accepted the loss. And then it wasn't until Fryer texted me, and I was like, "Dude, you got this. I don't know why you're texting me. It's a W." And I don't know, Ramondre Stevenson. That guy's my team MVP so far. So
he's pretty good. That Stevenson Olave trade has worked out for you and Colin.
Yeah, that's one of those ones that literally is it was a win-win for both sides when it happened, and post trade it's still a win-win for both.
Andy, you want to take us into a little true false? We'll see how Charlie feels about some of these.
Yeah, we can.
Boyer's opinions never really matter anyway, so let's see if Charlie has better opinions.
All right, we're going to do some quick ones. True or false, Fryer hasn't scored more than 76 points in the last 4 weeks.
More than 76?
76. Has Fryer cracked 76 in the last 4 games?
Has he? No.
Oh man. I know he's been real low. I know Lamar Jackson has had some real tough weeks. I'm gonna say yes. I feel like he cracked 80 once.
He has not. He started the season 113, 86, 118, and in the last 4 weeks he's gone 71, 75, 56, 61.
That's nice. That's real good.
Yeah. All right. So second true false on these quick hitters for the league. True or false, and Ty, you can set this one out. Fryer has a win over Tyler this season. True or false?
That is true.
That is true. I just wanted everyone to remember that happened.
Yeah, that's the week that I put up all of 60 points, 65, something like that. That was a good week for me.
66 for you, and Fryer led the league with 118.
Yeah, I mean, don't worry about the first 3 weeks of my season where I got scored on top
a lot.
They're all top 3. Yeah, that's fine.
I just want everybody to remember these truth statements. All right, on to the real ones. True or false? Josh Allen currently leads quarterback scoring on the season despite having an early bye week last week.
I'm gonna go false. I feel like Jalen Hurts is still one. No,
Jalen Hurts they had a bye week last week, right?
Hurts also had a bye. That is correct.
Yeah, so that didn't help. I'm gonna say false. I don't know that he is the top scorer. He might be, but false.
All right. Quarterback scoring, Josh Allen in first place with 172 points in only 6 games. Patrick Mahomes, 169. Joe Burrow at 3 with 166. Lamar Jackson at 4 with 156. Those other 3 have all played 7 games. And then Jalen Hurts down at 145, but he's only played 6. So he probably could have jumped at the very least Lamar Jackson if on equal games count. But still, Josh Allen getting it done. 17 passing touchdowns and 257 rushing yards adds up fast.
Also, didn't Boyer get him for like $15?
Something like that. Not enough. Value your quarterbacks, guys.
I finally did this year. I finally paid for a quarterback.
And
I did, but then I got upped, and then he fractured his ankle in week 3.
All right. Sorry. You're good. You're good. On to the next one. Leonard Fournette and Aaron Jones are both top 10 running backs this year so far. True or false?
I think Fournette is a yes. I don't think Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones had a good week. Leonard Fournette's had a bad couple weeks. They're probably sitting at 9 and 10 or 10 and 11 because
I mean, I'm not picking guys 22nd on the list to tell you they're top 10.
I understand, but I'm saying they're like right there. I'm going to say, yeah, they're probably that 9 and 10 mark.
So when I pulled this, they were 8 and 9. This was before Monday. Ramondre Stevenson is now number 8, but that still leaves them 9 and 10. They are just ahead of number 11, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Running back has been not good this year, guys.
All right. I am 0 for 3 on these.
Yeah, well, and Breece Hall's in the top 10, so he'll slowly fall out. So there's a spot that they can go up real quick, too.
That is accurate.
Andy, can I have Michael Carter back, by the way?
No deal. I'm hoping James Robinson is also not handed the ball in the Jets for no reason whatsoever because that guy's really good at football.
I was gonna say I don't know about for no reason because James Robinson should get the ball.
Right. All right. On to my receiver question. Jamar Chase is currently wide receiver 2. True or false?
You go first on this one because
False.
I'm in a bad.
2 is just very specific, and I'm gonna say false. I have no reason other. I mean, he had a 33-point game or something like this last week, but I'm gonna say false, just because 2 is very specific. He could be anywhere around there. I have no reasoning.
I'm gonna say true, but if I am wrong, I feel like Andy is gonna say he is number 1.
Oh, interesting. Ty, where do you think he lands? If it's not 2.
I was thinking he's sitting at 3. Stephon Diggs is 1 most likely, and then
Diggs is 1.
Chase has had a couple weeks that have been not great, but he had a 30-point week this week, and I think even last week he had a 20-point week. So I mean, he's probably up there, but I don't know that he's.
Yeah, he's had 25 points the last 2 weeks. He is wide receiver 2, but I will put an asterisk on this one. He's only 2 points ahead of Cooper Kupp, who's played in 1 fewer game. So he is wide receiver 2. True.
Still facts.
But Stephon Diggs is 7 points ahead of Jamar Chase in 1 fewer game. Diggs is killing it this year.
Right.
Hey,
and
where's Justin Jefferson?
Number 5, also in 6 games.
Yeah, with Josh Allen throwing every touchdown, because we talked about it last week, they've only scored 3 on the ground.
Right.
I mean, Diggs has to have all of them.
Yeah,
I mean, him and Corey.
Josh Allen has 17 touchdowns. Diggs only has 6 of those, so they have been spread around a little bit. But he's sitting on 656 yards, which
I know
is second
Gabe
in the
Davis
league.
Gabe Davis has at least a few, but Isaiah McKenzie has a couple. But whatever.
Yep.
Devin Singletary has 1 because you thought he had a rushing touchdown, but it was a dump off. It's fine.
I can't keep them all straight. All right. Last one. Tyler Higbee is top 5 in tight end targets per game.
True.
This is true. I will say I actually think he might be top 3.
I think you might be right. Let me switch from total to average. Paul nailed it. He is number 3. Targets per game.
That's Charlie, but great work, Charlie.
I'm sorry. One of you people. Paul's there. He could have said it. I wasn't looking because I was looking at the stats.
Hey, he hasn't made a guest appearance yet, all right? Don't be calling him out like that.
I'm sorry. Paul's not here. It's a surprise for later, guys. Don't tell anyone. Sorry, Charlie. You nailed it. So this is targets per game. Travis Kelce, 8.6. Right. Mark Andrews, 8.4. Tyler Higbee, 8.3. Zach Ertz, 7.9. And then number 5, Pat Freiermuth. Tied with George Kittle at 6.8, so a bit of a drop there. But the difference between, one of these things is not like the others. Higbee has 0 touchdowns on the year, so that's holding him back quite a bit. He's only averaging like 5 points a week.
Is that because Matt Stafford sucks?
That could be part of it. A lot of interceptions makes it hard to get your tight ends in the end zone.
True.
So there you go. That was true false this week. Thanks for playing.
Can we do a quick true false on the over under on my points against, because I'm not happy about it.
You've won 4 in a row. What are you whining about?
I know.
Oh, I would like to point out that I already hit the over on my win total from the preseason, which was 2.5.
I noticed that, and I'm proud of you. I picked you for the under because let's be real. You haven't cracked 90 points yet, according to Jeremy, so that's not very bueno.
But hey, if you're looking at, again, this is probably indicative of how bad my draft was and not necessarily how I've managed my team to a 3-3 victory. But I think like 40% of my roster was Cam Akers, DJ Moore, Trey Lance, Michael Carter, who I gave to you. So like a lot
Travis
of
Kelce, who you dumped after 1 week.
Man, you guys gave me an A though on that trade at the time.
Yeah. I mean,
great.
you got a lot for him. Honestly, your team didn't get that much worse when you made that move because you had Waller.
Yeah, and then he forgot how to play football after week 2.
That is a problem.
No, I just like to complain because where's Charlie at? Charlie's got 649 points against, but you got some guys down here at 536 for Fryer, 536 points against to my 727. So only about a 200-point difference between me and Fryer.
Yeah, you're looking at what does that work out to? Like 190 points over 7 weeks is like 25 a week difference. Small numbers.
Granted, I only put up 66 on Fryer when he put up 118 or whatever on me. So that helps. But it give me 200 less points against, and I'd be better than his 3-4 record. Damn it, Fryer.
Hey, fun fact, Fryer's the lowest scoring team out of the top 2 divisions, but he has more points than 3 teams in the bottom division.
Truth. I was looking at those earlier, and it blew my mind. With how close the league is, 4-3, 3-4, a couple 2-5s, how far apart the points for and points against are, it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pushing 775 for points for, and the lowest is 576. No, 543.
That'd be our friend Charlie here.
Way to go, Charlie. He's got.
Say that again.
You're short 225 points for less
compared to Tyler.
And
we've only got one less win, so props to you there.
I'm just confused on how this game works.
You score more than the other team, Ty. It's not fucking hard. You've done it 4 times. You didn't 3. That's how it works.
I'm due for a market correction in the points against department. So I feel like this is kind of like the fantasy gods rewarding me. Even though I'm going to have nothing to show for it at the end of the year.
Hey, you'll have your pants on if it keeps working out.
Hopefully.
All right. Let's run into one of my favorite segments. Pow! What you drinking? Andy, you got anything with us tonight?
I do. I'm sipping on a Amaretto sour.
Ooh,
good. Nice. Charlie, you got any drinks with you?
Yeah.
Are you not allowed to drink on podcast?
I have Ice Mountain water. The best water out there right after Fiji, actually.
That's fair.
But Fiji is it costs you an arm and a leg, so.
I'm running the Wiser again.
Church beer.
Nice.
Church beer. I'm almost done with this pack. Maybe I'll go back to Coors Light after that. See if Coors will send me some internet money or something back. We'll see what happens.
What do you think Boyer's drinking right now? Breast milk? No.
Wouldn't doubt it. I'd say what he said the other day, but I don't know that I'm allowed to say that on here. If his wife listens, we might be in trouble. Granted, Boyer doesn't even listen to the podcast, so it doesn't matter. I can say whatever I want.
True. He's not going to see this.
So it's funny because don't we normally say that about Robbie, and now we're saying it about Boyer? It's fine. Whatever. All right. So let's jump into week 8.
Wait, can I make an appearance really quick? We have a trade.
Ooh, interesting. Then we have something to talk about.
We got the ugly twin here. Okay. So I trade David Montgomery to Jeremy.
Okay.
And I get Miles Sanders and $3 and 7 fab. So you're getting the money? Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm trading Montgomery and $3 and 7 fab, and I'm getting Sanders. Okay. Discuss.
Interesting.
Pulling up. I know the Bears have a rough schedule the rest of the season.
I am very much looking forward to the Philadelphia Eagles acquiring David Montgomery and pushing Miles Sanders down on the depth chart.
I am curious what Jeremy's name is going to go to if he no longer has Miles Sanders.
That's actually a really good call. I don't think we've ever had 2 franchise name changes in the same season. Although it would technically, it would be 3 names but 2 changes because he started out with what was his first name?
Mixon's boxing class.
Yeah. Now he's gonna need a
Yeah. So Miles Sanders has a relatively easy schedule for the next 5 weeks: Pittsburgh, Houston, Washington, Indy, Green Bay. Then they get Tennessee and the Giants, and then Chicago. So realistically, the rest of their way until they hit Dallas and New Orleans week 16 and 17, the Eagles have a fairly light schedule. So that's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the schedule definitely comes into play too. Like Philly has you guys just announced it too. Oh, I thought you were gonna save for the morning.
Yeah, I think with how much Khalil Herbert's been involved in the Bears offense, that's not ideal for Montgomery. So, that's definitely got to be a factor in the decision here. Schedule, the fact that game script is probably going to favor the Eagles running the ball with a lead a lot more than the Bears having a lead in most of these games, and being able to run the ball. Granted, they've been running the ball even without the lead, and it's been working for them. So, both of these players have had injuries in the past, but Monty's actually had one this year, so something else kind of point against him. And there's a chance that Monty could get traded. And I don't think that's true of Miles Sanders. But on the flip side, Eagles have been rumored to be going after Kareem Hunt or whoever. So that could hurt Sanders' value quite a bit if they bring another guy in. So I don't know. We'll see. A lot can change.
At this point, I think it's a fairly even trade. I mean, Sanders has the guaranteed RB1 spot. Montgomery's getting the split. So to give up a couple bucks to get rid of a timeshare guy at this point to grab a quote unquote RB1, I think it's a fair deal. He is the RB1 in the Eagles minus Jalen Hurts, because Jalen Hurts might be the RB1 there. But the hard thing is
fantasy RB1. I got you.
Yeah, I'm talking more about the team in general.
I think it makes a lot of sense for Jeremy because it's not a huge downgrade, and he picks up a couple draft bucks. And if Montgomery keeps doing well, then Jeremy can flip him for more money later, but hopefully not hurt too much his chance to win. And we'll see. I do think it's interesting that this is happening now because I feel like Jeremy's really invested in beating Ty this week. And if I were Jeremy, I would much rather have Miles Sanders against the Steelers than I would have Montgomery against the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys have only allowed 7 touchdowns in 6 games or something like that. So,
yep. Yeah, we'll see. Jeremy's committed to beating me by picking up everybody that I need this week, though.
Did you need Montgomery?
I don't think so, but I think my running back situation's fine.
Yeah, I think so. I think it is too. Do we want to talk about the other big, huge trade that happened this week? I gave Boyer 7 fab for Tua.
I'm actually slightly upset about that. If you want me to be 100% honest, I messaged Boyer.
You would have bid on him.
I literally messaged Boyer and I said, "What the hell? If I would have known you were just handing away Tua, I would have given you fab for him." And he was like, he sends me something back and he goes, "Sorry, that's an oversight on my part." Like,
well, Boyer wasn't shopping him at all. Like, he didn't come to me. I went to Boyer because I was looking.
But he did tell me that he reached out to other people that he felt like needed a quarterback this week.
Oh, well, then that's an oversight on his part.
Wait, time out. I was one of them, and I'm facing him this week.
But like, if you look at my lineup, I'm missing Mahomes. He's my only quarterback. You wouldn't think to send me Tua?
Yeah.
I would have given you a whole draft dollar for next year for a week fill-in.
Wow. Jeremy would have been sad.
I'm still trying to figure out this quarterback situation. Okay.
You
Me
want
and Charlie
Tua?
might have to
I'll
work
sell him
something
to you
out.
for $1.
Hey, you have an offer on the table.
Yeah.
You have an offer on the table.
Oh, all right. Charlie, anything on that Sanders Montgomery?
No.
Okay.
I think we've hit it all.
All right, cool. Then we're gonna jump into week 8 this time. Paul, anything else you have to say to us, or are we good?
Any more trades?
I'm nervous, but I hope it works out. I know those guys are pretty even, so it's sort of a gamble for me, but I'm trying to look for upside, and I want to take part in the Eagles offense. And I feel like the Bears too could be playing from behind. So I mean, I know they have a strong run game, but give me an offense that's going to be scoring a lot of points. So we'll see how it works out.
Yep. All right. Well, let's jump into the matchups. We can talk about me versus Jeremy first. Let's go ahead and just jump right into it. Charlie, you want to run us through this one?
Well, I do, but you currently don't have a quarterback or a tight end. So
Figure shit out, Ty.
I don't know who you're currently projected to have 67 points,
which is still better than some of you guys scored last week.
Yeah, you know what? You would have beaten me. So I think your lineup decision, whichever, honestly, I'm not really, I guess your quarterback situation, whatever you decide there, I'm more interested to see who your 2 drops are going to be.
The New York Jets defense and somebody else.
You should accept my trade and you wouldn't have to drop.
Yeah, I haven't figured out who I'm dropping yet. It's fine.
All right. On Jeremy's side, now I got to look at this through the lens of he's got David Montgomery. I guess
just put him in over Sanders. Just say Sanders is there still. It's fine.
Yeah, but it doesn't really change the projections. Really, the only lineup decision I see is David Carr or Daniel Jones. Jones is at Seattle. Carr is at New Orleans.
I forgot David Carr came back out of retirement.
I meant Derek.
There it is.
By the way, do you remember when last year when people were getting on the Derek Carr is elite top 3 quarterback bandwagon? Was it Keyshawn Johnson who went on ESPN after like the second week and was like, I've been saying it all along. This guy's an elite quarterback.
He ended up like top 3 or top 4 in pass yards last year. It was just he doesn't have the touchdowns, and for fantasy purposes, he didn't have much legs. But I figured we'd see him at least in the top 7 or 8 this year with Devontae coming to town. But
yeah, I guess
Waller's been nothing, and Renfro's been bad.
Waller was hurt a lot last year too, wasn't he? And Carr still got the yards out of it.
I think I was more so talking about like an NFL quarterback, not a fantasy quarterback. So like he was way up. Anyway, I think Jeremy should start Daniel Jones. I mean, it feels like he's been trucking along on rushing yards.
Mm-hmm.
I would go Daniel Jones.
I would agree. I had a bid in on him this week. I wanted him, but it's fine.
Yep.
What about
I'm rolling with Dan Jones as well.
Well, I guess I was gonna say, what about replacing Adam Thielen? But he's got nobody to replace him with. So
yeah.
Bigger issue is replacing Mark Andrews if he doesn't play tomorrow.
Well, he's got Mike Gesicki on his bench.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Jeremy's team's not looking great right now, so you do what you got to do.
I mean, if he goes to the waiver wire to get a tight end, it's a dart throw.
We're not mentioning any waiver wire tight ends around here, all right?
I will say, if Mark Andrews doesn't play, I'm not against picking up Isaiah Likely and throwing him in there.
I was going to do that last week because I needed a tight end, and I was monitoring that situation, and then Mark Andrews played. So I picked up Greg Dololololchich, whatever his name is.
He's doing well. You could hold on to him.
He might be a hidden gem. Fingers crossed.
Yeah,
I think I saw
Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, I think actually, you know what? I'll save it for when it's my
not the next Kyle Pitts, because that guy looks ugly. Always.
It's the Falcons that are doing.
All right. Anyway, So, assuming that I find some sort of fill-in tight end, I find some sort of fill-in quarterback, who's going to win this matchup?
All right, I'll say Jeremy with the upset if Mark Andrews plays. If he doesn't, I'm going with Ty.
Wow. It's hard for my brain to see what this matchup looks like with Ty having no quarterback and no kicker, or not kicker, tight end. But I'm still gonna go Ty. I may have been able to talk myself into Jeremy with Miles Sanders against the Steelers because I like that matchup. But now with Monty against the Cowboys, that's a pretty decent step down. So I'm gonna go Ty in this one. I also got Boyer's picks ahead of time, and Boyer picks Jeremy, but he was unaware of the trade. I don't know if he'll pivot there or not.
I really what I need is a big game out of Higgins and Pittman, because without Eckler again this week and playing a questionable Deontay Foreman, would you guys switch out Foreman against Atlanta for Ayuk? Or, I mean, I guess that's really my only option on my bench.
Yeah, because you're not playing Bateman tomorrow, I don't think.
No, and Michael Thomas, I don't know if he'll even be back or not, and I'm not going to play him back in my first game.
Yeah, I actually think that's not a bad call, especially if Debo is on. I mean, he's got a hammy right now, right? So
right,
yeah.
I would support it.
Ayuk's not bad.
So okay, I mean, I was just curious. He's had 11 targets the last 2 weeks, so it's run through my head.
Yeah, can't argue with the volume.
But I'm also, to be honest with you, I think I'm going to take Jeremy this week.
Ooh,
wow,
he's in your head about these quarterbacks.
No, but to be honest, Pittman has not had a good couple weeks, and
hey,
I don't
he
know
just got a quarterback upgrade.
Sure, he did. He's had one good game in the last 5, so I'm slightly nervous about that whole situation right now.
I would like to change my prediction. If you accept my trade, I pick Ty to win.
Is that how that works?
He's pushing us real hard right now. He wants this live in-action trade right here. All right. I just without Eckler, without Mahomes, without Kelsey, I don't know what Pittman's going to be this week. I think I still put up probably 85 points, which could beat Jeremy, but it's going to be questionable. So we'll see. This may be my one down week, and then I'll bounce back. All my studs will be passed or by. To be honest, Christian McCaffrey has to have a better showing than he did last week too. I know it was his first week with San Francisco,
right?
But playing the Rams front, could be rough as well. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully they scheme him up nice and he can get me 20 points and save me a little bit of this week. So I think there's enough question marks on my side, even without health right now and without these buys, that I'm nervous about. So I don't like saying it, but there it is. So, all right. Andy, shoot me to the duo versus Fryer.
Wait, who did Paul pick?
Oh yeah, Paul, who's your pick?
Oh, I'm picking?
Yeah.
I will go. Wait, hold on.
It would be funny if he's like, I think Montgomery's gonna have a big game. I'm gonna go with Jeremy.
Yeah, I'm still gonna go with Ty.
All right, I'm glad I'm not the only one, because I feel like a crazy person right now looking at 3 Jeremys and 1 Tyler on my spreadsheet.
I thought I was being bold, and then I got
Jeremy picked himself too, which, I mean, that at least makes a little bit of sense. But
I just think there's enough question marks around my team this week.
I mean, Mahomes, Eckler, and Kelsey are your 3 best players.
Right.
So Jeremy's got good timing, if nothing else. Yeah.
Right. Charlie, for your sake, I hope I beat Jeremy, but
yeah, same, except my trade, so you can.
All right, Andy, duo versus Matt.
Mr. Fryer versus Mr. Fryer. The battle of underachievers, especially lately. If we look at points, Jeremy said in his write-up that the duo just set a low score for back-to-back weeks with 104. But Fryer's probably pushing that. His last 2 weeks only add up to 117, so could be a stinker, guys. But at least it'll be competitive. That's that's what you want. It doesn't matter if it's ugly as long as it's competitive, right? Thursday night football. All right, so Duo has Jalen Hurts back off a bye, which I think probably is enough to get them the win. And they've got good running backs. Hubbard's questionable with an ankle. He didn't practice today, wore a non-contact jersey, and was riding a bike off to the side, which is not ideal. If they can't play him, I don't think you want Elijah Moore or newly acquired Marquise Goodwin. So you're looking at Garrett Wilson or Alec Pierce at the flex. I think I could play. Paris Campbell's been doing a lot these last couple of games too, and they just changed the quarterback. So who knows who Erlinger is gonna throw to? I don't know. Duo needs to make a move because you got to have better options for your flex at this point, right? Who are you guys putting in at the flex if Hubbard's not playing?
I'm probably putting in Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
And I don't feel comfortable about that, but same reason I'm nervous about Pittman is the same reason I'm gonna be nervous about Alec Pierce.
Right.
And Wilson's definitely a better option than Elijah Moore at this point.
Agreed.
So I think you have to go Garrett Wilson if Chuba Hubbard's not going to be playing, or if he's even questionable at that point with this ankle issue.
Ty, would you play Wilson over Bobby Trees if Hubbard's healthy?
Possible. I mean, to be honest with you, Robert Woods has not had a good last couple weeks. He hasn't had anything over 9 points this whole season, and that's 30 yards and a touchdown.
I mean, Wilson hasn't either, aside from his massive week 2.
No, but I think Wilson has a higher upside than Bobby Trees does.
Yeah, they're probably more likely to throw, especially losing Breece Hall.
That's kind of my thought. And at this point, the duo may or may not need upside. Granted, they're playing Friar this week, so that helps. But yeah. I think the duo could go for the upside here.
Yeah.
So I might play Garrett Wilson over both of them anyway.
All right.
Does your guys' opinion change if Ryan Tannehill is out and Malik is starting? So I feel like that's what.
Does that make it that much better? I don't know. They're not great options. The fact that wide receiver 2 and flex is such a struggle is not good for a team that's 4-3 and tied for the division lead right now.
I just feel like with Tannehill at quarterback, there's no it's either the ball is going to Derrick Henry or it's a pass. But like with Willis, there is that honesty of like, okay, we gotta maybe have a QB spy or whatever, and
opens things up a bit.
Opens things up for Woods. Yeah. I don't know.
I just don't know how much they're going to change the whole playbook if Tannehill's out. I mean, I know they'll have a playbook for Willis, but I think the game plan is still going to be give Henry the ball and get the ball out quick to one of your wide receivers. I mean, I don't think they're going to want Malik to be scrambling hard that often. I mean, Justin Fields is finally getting a playbook that says, hey, maybe you should run a handful of times. So I'm just not sure that Tennessee's going to be ready for that. So I still think it's going to run through Henry and going to be quick passes, get it out of his hands as quick as possible.
Yeah. All right, let's move over to Fryer. Gus Edwards, questionable with a knee, but I think they were just kind of resting him because he got a lot of work in his first game back off a ACL injury. James Conner also returned to practice, so those questionables I don't think are actually a threat to their playing time. You're leaving both of those guys in. I don't think, given their recent play, you're putting Damian Harris or Kareem Hunt in over either of these guys, right?
No.
And James Robinson in his first game as a Jet doesn't do anything for me. Dalton Schultz is questionable, but he did have 5 targets, 5 catches for 49 yards in his first game back. Assuming he's healthy, I'm putting him in over Irv Smith. Any issues with that?
I don't have an issue with it, but I think I would roll with Irv Smith for one more week. But I could see putting either one in. I feel like they're both very similar, low volume, 4 or 5 target, 4 or 5 reception. You're praying for a touchdown with either one.
Yeah, that's true.
I actually tend to agree with Andy. I feel like Dalton Schultz with Dak as the quarterback is so different than Dalton with Cooper Rush.
Well, and to be honest, Arizona or Chicago's defense, I'm not worried about either of them shutting down a tight end. So it could go either way.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. So no real hard lineup decisions here. Who you guys got in this one?
I got duo.
I've got duo as well because of the question marks with Edwards and Connor still. If not, I think I would almost go back to leaning Fryer. I think it's gonna be a close matchup. But
do we think that Benjamin has eaten into James Conner's workload? If Connor's fully healthy, ready to go this week, do we think that he takes the full workload, or do we think that Eno's still going to get his?
I think Eno will still get it some. I don't think they're going to throw it straight on to Connor.
Connor didn't play well in the games that he was healthy this year, and Eno hasn't been a world beater, but he's been decent enough.
Yeah. Darrell Williams is back too, though, so that kind of complicates it.
Right. It doesn't help Connor at all.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's another negative for Connor, not for Eno.
Yeah, I'm going duo. Boyer's going duo. Breaking news: Boyer sent me a message saying that after the trade, he's switching from Jeremy to Tyler in his pick in that matchup. So, Paul, who you got, duo or Fryer?
I'm also going duo.
All right, 5 for 5 duo.
Damn it, we're gonna mess that one up for sure.
Probably.
All right, so Walker versus Chris. Walker sitting on Pollard, Henderson, and Zeke, Melvin Gordon. Who do we feel comfortable playing here? Pick 2 of the running backs, I guess.
I don't think I'm playing Melvin Gordon. He hasn't cracked 60 yards this year. He's got 1 rushing touchdown. That offense is a mess. So
Jacksonville's run defense is not great. That's the only reason I threw him in there.
Yeah. Zeke's been playing pretty well, but he's banged up, sprained MCL, so he's probably not playing, which sucks. Lockett got a day of rest because of his hammy, but I expect him to play. And if DK sits, I think you got to get Lockett into your lineup here. But Walker's flush with wide receiver talent, so there's not a space for him. So I guess you don't have to worry about that. It's just running back, right? I don't know, man.
If I'm Walker, and this has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that I want him to lose this week, I think you should start Taysom Hill at quarterback and Kyle Pitts at tight end. If I was running his team. Yeah. No, I would probably leave it the same. I think the biggest question mark is, do you swap Darrell Henderson for Zeke if they're both healthy?
Not with the sprained MCL. I'm gonna leave Henderson in there. Henderson's questionable tag right now is just because he's sick. There's not really anybody else to do it on the Rams right now. So unless they make a trade for a guy, and even then that wouldn't be a big deal this week. That would be more long term. So I'm leaving Henderson in. I'm giving Zeke a week, even if he plays, which it doesn't sound like he will. Just leave it as it is.
Yeah. All right. fair enough. Let's jump over to Chris then. He doesn't really have any lineup decisions. I'm gonna ask again this week. About Deontay Johnson is really Jamal Williams. He needs another running back. This Pacheco being out and Dobbins being on IR is killing him right now. With Swift being back, Jamal Williams probably isn't going to get as big of a workload this week. So that's definitely not helping. Deontay Johnson, Michael Gallup, or George Pickens?
Well, I tell you, it would be Paris Campbell for me if they hadn't just benched Matt Ryan coming off 11 and 12 targets these last 2 weeks, but I don't know what that's going to be. I would love to get a Colts receiver in a lineup against the Commandos defense, but I don't know. I don't know what that's going to be, so I can't make that call this week. I'd play Pittman.
And that's why I left him out, because I've already talked bad about Indy multiple times.
Right. I
don't think I'm starting Gallup.
No,
I don't think I'm starting Gallup.
No, I wouldn't. I'm going to leave Deontay in. Deontay's got 67 targets, which we know he's a volume guy, not going to be a ton of long catches or big touchdowns or anything like that, but 67 catches or 67 targets is a whole boatload, and I'll trust volume over any of the guys on his bench.
Yeah, I think the only way you're starting George Pickens, I could see it because they have such good corners. Actually, is Darius Slay hurt? He get hurt? Didn't I see something? Someone look that up. I was gonna say they have such good corners that if you're looking for a touchdown, it's probably gonna come from Pickens as opposed to Deontay. The problem
tell our producer on the side that's not talking to vet that for us.
Darius Slay is not hurt.
I don't see any injuries. Yeah.
Who am I thinking of? Is there an Eagles cornerback that is hurt right now? Maybe not. Maybe I'm just making it up in my head.
Either way, Charlie's saying that there's no way to play George Pickens. I'm actually making the switch to George Pickens this week.
Oh no, I'm actually saying if you the player that's more likely to get a touchdown, it feels like, is Pickens over Deontay. So if that's what you're going for, because it feels like if you're not really going into this needing you're not going to get a ton of yards out of an Eagles secondary. So if you want to add that red zone threat, I would go George Pickens. The problem is it's a noon game, so they won't know what they're going to need, right?
Yeah.
If it was a 3:00 game, then you can kind of make that call.
Part of me says he almost has to go George Pickens for the upside. I get Deontay Johnson has a huge upside too with the targets and the speed. But like Charlie just said, getting a touchdown, Pickens has outscored Deontay Johnson fantasy-wise 3 out of the last 4, if not 4 out of the last 4 weeks. 3 out of the last 4 weeks. And I think he's just going to keep getting targeted. I think he's going to slowly become the alpha wide receiver in this room. And I don't know what's going on with Deontay Johnson, but I think I'm playing Pickens. This will be the 1 week Pickens doesn't outscore Deontay, though, just because I finally said make the switch.
Yeah, I'm not against it.
I think Chris needs some upside here. Chris has plenty of upside with Chase and Diggs and Cook, but you're looking at Murray and Jefferson and Brown and Hopkins on the other side. I think that Pickens could be that touchdown upside Chris needs.
This is actually funny. There are 6 players in one game in this matchup at Arizona, Minnesota.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
All right. I am gonna say that if I'm Walker, I'm playing Kyle Pitts.
I know you're all about Kyle Pitts. I'm keeping Taysom.
I'm playing Kyle Pitts.
No way.
Andy said it every week, though. He's got to stick with his guns. He's got to say, go for it.
Not for nothing. I have Taysom Hill and Kyle Pitts in our Dynasty League, and I've been playing Kyle Pitts every week except the week he's at. So,
how's that going?
I mean, Pitts had the touchdown and had more points than Taysom Hill 2 weeks ago, and then last week Taysom Hill did way better than 9 yards receiving on 3 catches. So 50-50. The important thing is I had Taysom Hill the week Pitts was out and he went nuts.
All right. So who's going to win this matchup, though?
I'm going to go Walker. But I think this should be a close one. Chris's team's a good team.
With wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2, it
yeah,
better be a good
Walker's
matchup.
got like 3, 4, 5 at this point.
Right. So I'm also going Walker, but should be a good matchup. If Chris had another running back there, I think it makes a difference. But I just don't trust Williams.
Walker's running backs are not looking great this week.
No.
So there's a window.
Yep.
I don't know. Boyer also picked Walker. Paul, are you going to break from the group or are you picking Walker?
I was also picking Walker.
All right.
Man.
All right. So, Andy, I'm going to have, all right, Charlie, go ahead and jump to Andy versus Colin.
Okay.
And then, Andy, you'll take Charlie's matchup next.
All right. So, I'm looking at Andy's bench. I don't see anything. I mean, I guess you got to monitor Alan Lazard's status, and then you make that swap. But, yeah, and then you would have to obviously play Curtis Samuel. You're going to play
double dip my commandos.
Wow.
I'm playing Gibson in the flat. Oh, nope, never mind. I lied. Okay.
Yeah, I've been playing receiver in the flex the last couple weeks, but not this week. Michael Carter,
right.
baby.
You're right. I forgot.
Charlie.
You've always had the 3 wide receivers. That's why I was going to go to Gibson, but damn it.
I can never luck into that. Like, it's always me that's doing the one that's dropping someone that becomes valuable a week later.
All right. I traded Eno Benjamin. I dropped Isaiah Pacheco. Or no, I traded him to Jeremy.
I appreciate email.
Yeah, but I originally dropped Pacheco.
He did. That's true.
All right. So Andy's pretty set.
Yeah, Andy's pretty set. You got to swap out, obviously, Samuel for Lazard if he can't go. On the other side, if Russell Wilson, no, you got to start Geno. I don't really see much for Colin either. Yeah, he's got Jonathan Taylor and Josh Jacobs, although is that Jacobs' foot issue a problem? It was limited, so he looks fine.
He's probably just tired after carrying his fucking team these last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question? I'm going to get shot down right away.
Play Wandale over Devonta Smith?
Yeah.
I'd do it. I'm okay with that.
I've not. Devonta Smith is like my new Tyler Lockett. I just don't like him. I have not liked him since he came into the league. And yeah, he had a couple big games, but
I'm not doing that only because I think Philly, they're coming off a bye at home against Pittsburgh. Like, they could legitimately put up 40 points.
I don't disagree that they're not going to tear apart Pittsburgh, but there's so many people to distribute the ball to over there, where Wandale may be one of the only ones to give the ball to outside of Saquon at this point. I don't know. I think I'm putting Wandale in now.
I'm sticking with Devontae.
That's fair. All right, let's Oh,
I'm sorry. Wait, we have one more. Does he play San Francisco defense against the Rams?
With how much Stafford's been turning the ball over, yeah. I think I'm okay with getting the Niners in there against the Rams. Denver's defense has been pretty good in terms of not allowing a lot of points, but they're not terribly productive fantasy-wise. They've only forced 7 turnovers in 7 games, which is not getting it done for our purposes, despite being a good real-life defense.
Yeah, the Niners have 6 interceptions alone.
Yeah. So I'd make that switch.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it going either way on this one, but I've been saying play your better defense, and I think the Niners are the better defense, even going against the Rams. But the Rams haven't been great this year, so I'm good with putting the Niners in. So who's going to win this matchup then? Paul, who's going to win this matchup?
I got Andy.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Charlie?
I feel like this might be close. Man. I don't think Andy's going to lose 2 in a row, so I'm going to go with him.
Thank you.
I am going to take Colin on this one.
I was trying to gain some ground in the pick situation.
I think this is a Jonathan Taylor finally does something right week with.
That's exactly what I wrestled with too. I'm like, this is going to be the game he scores 3 touchdowns.
Washington's front is good, but I don't know what the Colts are going to do this week. And if they don't give the ball to Taylor at least 15 times, that guy needs to be fired.
Yeah, I think
you should hire a guy named Eberflus.
Yeah, well,
should they? I don't think that's going to fix it. I think Taylor gets a good solid workload with the quarterback change. I think that would make sense, and Washington hasn't been great against the run, but I am more worried about Jacobs as the one on the other side of this matchup that has to worry about Colin this week. I'm more worried about Josh Jacobs. New Orleans has not been great against the run, like they have been these last couple of years, where while not quite the Tampa Bay Bucks, they've been a matchup that you would like to avoid if you've got a running back. But that's not really happening this year. They're pretty middle of the road, and I think Jacobs keeps doing what he's doing. It's working for the Raiders, so he's the one I'm worried about this week. But I am going to pick me. I like the Chubb Mixon matchup. I think Mixon's got a really good matchup. The Browns defense is not great against running backs. Chubb's going to get his, even though the Bengals are decent about against the running backs. But I like what I've got. I'm really happy with what I've got this week. If I have to
Lazard
address,
doesn't play, how do you feel?
I mean, I'll figure something out. I'm not going to start Samuel.
Right.
If Lazard's not playing, then I'll make a move to add a guy, trade or something, to get somebody of equal quality. I'm not acquiring CeeDee Lamb or anybody like that just to plug this week, but I think I'll be okay. There's also a chance DK plays, which Pete Carroll's optimistic, and I'm not buying into that yet, but I've got 2 guys that are questionable, and I'll know more on Friday.
Yeah. So, okay. Where'd Boyer go?
Boyer went with me.
Okay. So I'm the only one. I'm the only oddball on Colin on this one.
You are the only one on that one.
That's all right. All right, Andy, jump us to Charlie versus Boyer.
Charlie.
This one should be pretty quick, I think. Sorry, Charlie.
This one might be pretty quick. Sorry, Charlie.
Screw you. It wouldn't be quick if you accepted my trade.
All right. Are we getting DJ Moore in as a cornerstone, untouchable player on these decent Carolina Panthers that beat the Bucks last week? Do we buy 1 week? I don't think so.
I'm not sold on Godwin, but he's probably a better option than Moore.
Yeah.
I think what's frustrating is this is such a good matchup for DJ Moore that if he followed up last week with another good week, it would be like, okay, this is the week that I would actually trust him in. But I feel like I need to see it one more time with PJ Walker to feel comfortable. So I'm not getting him in.
And then as soon as PJ Walker does well and what's his face, Sam Darnold comes back, they'll make a quarterback change and everything will change for you all over again.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't know.
All right. So the only other one would be, are you putting Justin Fields in over Jared Goff if Amon-Ra St. Brown is out still?
Oh, Ty, why are you laughing?
I don't know.
Here's the thing. I think I'm gonna make this call on Sunday because I'm still wrestling with it.
I think Swift is supposed to be back, which could help Goff. I mean, Swift gets those dump offs.
Yeah. A part of me is like, I don't know how naive I'm being, but a part of me has convinced myself that the Bears actually know how to utilize Justin Fields now, and they're gonna use him more like Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen as opposed to like running for his life yards. The
Maybe a little
is,
both.
Yeah, maybe a little both. The problem is Dallas has such a good D, and I think they lead the NFL in takeaways. So like this could be a game where like Fields also has like 4 turnovers and like 100 yards on the ground, like wouldn't be enough to negate. So I'm going to wrestle with this pretty much all week. But I really love Jared Goff's matchup, and that's what's making it difficult. So that's why I got him slotted right now.
Fair enough. On Boyer's side,
Is if Waller's back, we're playing him coming off the hamstring over Dolchik or no?
I'm still worried that he can re-aggravate that. Like I feel like 2 weeks is not enough to recover from a hammy. So like,
I mean, if one of the two is going to have a big game, it's going to be Waller, right? Dolchik's not going to close a 18-point gap for you. So I think if Waller's playing, you got to roll those dice.
So I saw
Dolchik could have an 18-point week.
I saw a stat though the other day that was like 75% of Dolchic's routes have been from the wide receiver position. So like he's not even lining up at tight end. So I'm gonna keep him in there now. I'll monitor Waller's status, but I kind of want to roll the dice on Dolchik. We'll see.
Dolchik's touchdown was from the tight end position, but he has ran a lot out of the wide receiver. So
yeah. I also would like it better if Russell Wilson was the quarterback.
Was good.
Yeah, or way out the Seattle Russell Wilson.
Right. All right. Well, let's
go to
over
Boyer.
Let's shoot over Boyer.
Brandon Cooks or Tyler Boyd?
I would go Cooks if I were him. Oh, actually, I didn't realize how poor he's doing.
Yeah, he's not been good, and Boyd's got a couple big weeks.
Yeah, I would ride the hot hand in Boyd.
Yeah, I think you leave Boyd in, but I don't feel comfortable with either of them.
I'd go Cooks.
I mean, I see it. I have no problem with Cooks. It's just
I don't think either's ideal, but Boyer had 2 pretty big injuries last week, and he's making do. So it is what it is. But I would go Cooks.
Cooks gets the volume for sure. Where Boyd may only get 3 looks in the game, but he could make put up 60 and a touchdown out of those 3.
Yep.
So it's tough. I see both sides of that. But Boyer doesn't necessarily need 60 and a touchdown out of 3 looks when he could have 4 or 5 points.
40 points or 40 yards. Yeah. Yep. So. All right. I got Boyer. I think that's probably going to be a pretty common response here.
Yep.
I think I'm gonna. I want to go Boyer.
Paul, just agree with us?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
All right. Wait. Last question before we wrap. Actually, we got one more matchup, right?
Yeah. You
all
got
one more.
At the end. Wait, did you? You guys didn't pick me yet.
I don't think we've done that matchup.
Yeah, that's the last one.
We haven't picked
you
yet.
All right. Question. I'm just gonna throw it out there. Is Cam Akers droppable at this point?
Yes.
I've been wrestling with it for a while.
As soon as he's dropped, he'll find a new team just because you dropped.
I was going to say, as soon as he gets dropped, he's going to be acquired by Buffalo. So you know.
No.
All right.
All right. So Paul versus Robbie. That fucker, Robbie. Are we allowed to say that on here? I'm not sure.
He's not watching.
All right. So let's talk about Paul's team. Paul may or may not have Debo, My guess is being against the Rams, if he can play, he's going to play. But if he's not, are you guys playing Drake London? Because that's the only wide receiver on his bench.
Well, I was going to say he's got 8 running backs on his roster. So I could use a running back.
Not any of these, though. Herbert, maybe. Now that he doesn't have Montgomery, he could maybe give up Herbert because he doesn't need the handcuff.
Whoa.
My bad. I didn't mean it, Paul. I'm sorry. All right. So Brian Robinson or Algier or Herbert? I think you got to play Robinson, right?
Well, I wouldn't rule out Algier.
I am gonna go with.
Actually, I lied. I'm
Robinson.
going Brian Robinson.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not real big on Brian Robinson. He's averaging like 3.2 a carry, which is not ideal. And it's not like his team's scoring a ton of touchdowns where you're looking forward to that bailing him out if he has a bad game. But I don't like any of the options on the bench better. I think there's an argument for Herbert going in some weeks, but not against Dallas.
Sure. All right. So then over to Robbie's side. Wide receiver situation. Are you guys still aren't starting Mooney, right? Over Meyer or Cooper. You're keeping Cooper in for sure. What about Meyer? Meyer had 4 for 4 for 60 yards and then 2 for 2 for 34 and a touchdown. That quarterback situation in New England's not great either.
Yeah, it's not doing him any favors.
I mean, the other option is Rondale Moore, but I'm not starting Rondale Moore.
He has another option if he accepts my trade.
Yeah, I think Rondale Moore had 2 targets last week with Hopkins back, so he's droppable at this point. I also find it funny that Robbie's handcuffing his bench running back. Like, what do you think that if Najee goes down, that Warren's gonna come in and you're gonna play him? Like, you do you. It's you could probably use another wide receiver on your roster is what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it how he has it. I'm not thrilled about Myers, but I'm not thrilled about any of Robbie's wide receivers. So that's what you got to do.
Yep. I actually, as much as I hate to say it, I think I'd switch Meyer out for Mooney. Jets defense is solid. Dallas' defense is good, but if Mooney can get himself 6 to 8 targets this week, I think he might be a better option than Myers. Because Allen Robinson's the other option, but I'm not starting him.
Yeah. It's a turd sandwich either way.
Yeah, for sure. We've been talking about his wide receivers nicely all year. Also, TJ Hawkinson didn't practice with a knee injury. If he doesn't start, you got to find yourself a tight end as well.
Yeah. Plenty of guys on his bench you can drop, though.
At least he's got a better situation with the bench drop than I do.
True.
Charlie, who are you playing at wide receiver this week?
I'm actually, I don't know if this is irresponsible. I'm actually not ruling out Allen Robinson.
I'm not sure there's any irresponsible decision with these. So,
yeah, the Niners have given up some points to wide receivers this year, so
like
maybe.
Jacoby Myers is coming off a game where he caught 2 balls. One of them was a touchdown, so it skews his numbers.
Right.
I mean, Darnold.
Mooney's finally got 6, 5, 5, 12, and 6 targets. At least they're finally using him.
Yeah.
Opposed to the first 2 weeks where he had 3 and 2.
I mean,
But,
the
like,
first
he
3
has to
weeks we were throwing for 100 yards. Now we're throwing for like 170.
That's right.
You're right.
Oh,
Well, like, Mooney's got to get to 60 yards. Like, all it takes is Allen Robinson to get one touchdown, you know, and LA or San Francisco gave up 42 to KC last week.
Yeah.
Again, it's a turd sandwich.
So, all right. Well, who's going to win this matchup then?
I got Paul.
I really want to pick Paul. I really do. With Swift back and the Miles Sanders acquisition, but Tom Brady won't let me pick Paul this week. I got to go with Robbie.
I am also going to have to go with Robbie just because Barkley and Walker, those two are tough.
I think this is the Brady game. I think he has a solid game.
He freaking needs it.
He does.
So does Chris Godwin.
And like Brady's volume's been great. He's been passing for at least 40 attempts each of the last 5 weeks, and he's been up at 250 plus in yardage. It's just he's only been getting one touchdown. He's got 1 or 0 touchdowns in all but one game this year, which
right.
You can't rely on that.
No, but now that Godwin's back, now that Evans is still there, they're
Russell Gage is hurt.
I mean, Kate Otten, what's that?
Who knows?
Julio has been questionable for like 4 weeks in a row.
They're adamant on not rushing him back. Okay, it's a long game.
Yeah, he's got to be healthy for when they miss playoffs.
So, all right, Paul, are you taking yourself?
If Deebo Samuel plays, I'm going Robbie. If Deebo Samuel does not play, I'm definitely going Robbie.
Oh, good. You made me nervous there for a second.
Fair enough.
That's a change. All right. So with that, that's all we have for week 8. Charlie or Andy, anything before we log off?
I didn't come prepared with a dad joke.
That's okay. Neither did we.
Failure on my part. I feel like Dan Orlovsky's was my contribution for the week. His 13-second joke.
So, all right. Well, with that, enjoy week 8. Good luck in football. Jeremy, keep blocking me, doing your thing. Otherwise, you need to like, subscribe, comment, do your thing. None of you comment anyway. But we'll keep telling you to do it. So,
guys, we're up to 14 subscribers now. We're almost famous.
Yes.
Wow.
Turning a corner.
14 subscriber is.
I don't know. We got a subscriber a couple weeks ago, and I was like, "Who?" Like, at this, we've been doing this for like 2+ years. I can't imagine it's one of you guys that's like, "Oh, I should click the thing now." Like, so maybe it's some random guy that's like, "These guys have a league, and I'm invested in it because." He doesn't have friends. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, he's gonna actually try to keep comment. He's gonna start commenting and being like, "Yo, I need in this league, guys."
Please do. Yeah.
So, there you go.
Random stranger, 14th subscriber. Maybe we'll send you some merch. We don't have merch. We're not gonna send you some
maybe
merch.
Maybe we'll change the duo from to the trio. And
there you go.
All right. On that note, we're out. Enjoy week 8, and we'll see you next week.